As stated in the previous video, in this video I'm making the prancing pony sign from the Lord of the Rings movie. So we glued some panels together, cut some shapes out of those panels, put some more shaping on the outside of those panels, and spent a good couple of days carving the prancing pony into the middle of the panels. But now we have to apply a border and of course the prancing pony sign. And make a post for it to hang on. So there's a lot more to do on this. And that's just what we're going to do. We're going to make the best handmade Lord of the Rings prancing pony pub sign that's on YouTube. Voila! Look at that. Alright, so we're trying to figure out the framing using the references that I've got. There isn't a huge lot of reference on the exact framing of it, so I'm going to go with a bit of liberty and just make something up as I go along, really. But it should come out alright. So the first thing is we'll get a profile of the framing, and then we'll start making it and cutting some profile on it and attaching it onto the sign. I transferred the same arc that was on the main frame of the sign onto these boards, and we'll cut the arc out and then we'll fit these onto the sign. Alright, make 4 of those. After cutting all the profiles for both sides, I've now got to figure out how to cut a relief into these borders. As you can see by the original sign here, it's got some sort of a relief cut into it. I now got to cut the 45s on each side of this. You can see on the main frame there I've marked the 45 line, and now I'll transfer that line onto the border and cut it off. I'm going to apply both of these borders at the same time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill some pinholes through and use some toothpicks to align these two sides when I glue it up. It makes the gluing up so much easier because you're not having to chase them all over the place trying to make sure they're in alignment, because the toothpicks here, you can see, hold them in position while you clamp them up. And just like that, we have the two ends locked in, and then we'll just put some clamps on it and let it dry. Easy peasy. So this is where it gets really complicated, because we've got to make the same piece there for up here, and in the images it does actually wrap around the shape of the head. So the head is actually inlaid into this, but the question is, how the hell do we get it into this? So what I'm thinking is I may put the template on, put some lines on it to align up onto this, and then see if we can transfer the profile of the head onto this and then cut it out. See if it fits. Alright, technically that's what we have to cut out. This is a back and forth process, so I'll nibble a little bit off, bring it back, mark up the pencil areas where I think I need to take more, and just keep repeating this process till I get the fit I need. We have a bit of a problem with this theory here. So it's slotted in alright, but of course it's going to cover up most of the ear, and it'll look crappy. Looking at some of the blurry photos on it, obviously this top bit is cut thinner to allow the ear to come through the framing more, because I haven't cut the relief here as deep as it is in the original. So what I'm going to do is, now that we've glued the bottom in and we want to keep that as it is I've made a template, and then I'm going to route in, using this pattern here, a deeper curve in the top here, so that we can drop this relief here back beyond the ear and clear all that up. So that's what we're going to do now to solve that problem. Alright, that's better. Alright, it's not the prettiest fix, but it is a fix. Once I've done this on both sides, I proceeded to drill some pinholes in it for the toothpicks, slap some glue on, and clamp them together. And that's the top and bottom done. We'll cut a 45 and then we'll start cutting out the piece around the side there so it fits around the tail. As before, mark it, cut a little bit off, mark it again, and keep repeating the process till we get to the desired fit. You can see here I'm just using the side of the bandsaw blade as sort of a planer to plane the little pieces off, so that I'm not taking too much off at a time, and I'll gradually sneak up on the fit. That'll do. Once the fit's right, then it's just a matter of using some sandpaper and sanding all the saw marks out and tidying it all up, and then it's time to glue it in. Alright, looks pretty good. Right, let's glue it in. Because there's plenty of support on the 45 corners for these side bits, I don't need pin nails to register it, because they've got something to register to. So it's just a matter of slapping some glue on, a couple of chocks, clamp it together, and the job's are good. Using a pattern cutter bit in the router, it's a simple process, just running that along the outside edge and trimming everything nice and smooth to the original frame. Now the main framing's done, the next job we have to figure out is actually the Prancing Pony sign. Now this is a three-dimensional lettering on the original sign, and that's how I'm going to do this sign. So the first thing I've got to do is stencil it out and get the proportions all right. I'm going to use the same sort of grid process that I used in the original, get the Prancing Pony profiles done to get the signage done. Now, of course, there's a Prancing Pony lettering on each side, so I've got to make a double copy of this, and I've figured out this is going to be the easiest way of doing it. So now I've made these two panels, I'll super glue them together with a few little spots of super glue, and then from there we will cut them out. We got two Ys. Done. Then it's just a long, laborious process of sanding each individual piece till it's nice and smooth and cleaned up. Using the original block as a template, I mark the positions of the lettering. Then with a bit of super glue and accelerator, we start applying the letters. Gotta love super glue and accelerant. Apart from a bit of sanding, a couple little bits and pieces do some filling, we're almost ready here to start painting. This is the first coat of the white going down. I'll eventually do 2 coats of this. Alright, first coat on. Alright. First coat of green on, one more coat, and then we can move on to the yellow. That's the second coat. Let that dry, and then the yellow's the next thing. Putting the yellow down as a base coat for some bronze foiling that I'm going to be doing. Almost there. Another coat of yellow and then some gold leaf, or brass leaf. I'm applying the sizing onto the yellow areas for the brass leaf. This stuff is just sort of like a clear glue. As it dries, you can see it goes clear, but it leaves the surface tacky that I can apply this brass leaf onto. You know, my big fat chubby fingers isn't quite designed for gold leafing, so whatever you do, don't use this as an example of how you should do it. My theory here is let's get as much of this stuff down as we can, and surely to God it'll stick to enough to make it look okay. Using a soft brush, I just break away the areas that ain't glued to anything, and it leaves the areas that I sized with the bronze leaf on it. And so that's the bronze leafing done. I'm no expert, but it come up pretty good. It looks quite effective on the sign. The next thing I want to do is the little chromy hooks that hold the sign up. I didn't like the chrome effect, so all I did was I heated them up, dipped them in a bit of oil, and then it nicely took that chrome off, and well, took the chrome look off and gave them a nice darker grey look, which I think suited the sign better. We've got a lovely Prancing Pony pub sign ready to go, but now we need to make something to hang it off. So I've got here a big piece of redwood sleeper. This is 200 by 100, and I'm going to mill this down to a 4x4 post and two 100 by 50 4x2s to build the base and the crossbar with. With just a little bit of work with the saw and the thicknesser planer here, we now have all the timber we need to make the frame to hang the sign on. I'm going to make a through tenon through the middle of the main post. Through this will go the cross beam, which the sign will eventually hang off. So I've got to cut the tenon through this whole post. So first of all I'll mark it out, and then as you can see here, I'll drill most of the waste out, and once most of the waste is drilled out, I'll then take to it with a chisel and clean up all the outside edges. I'm using my favourite chisel here. This is a chisel my dad gave me and I restored. There's actually a video on my channel of me restoring this chisel. It's a big pocket chisel, but it's absolutely perfect for doing big through tenons like this. Makes an absolute great job. It stays nice and sharp and beautiful and flat, and it's a pleasure to work with. So now that we've finished the through tenon, I'm going to actually make a start on the base that's going to support the main post. Here I'm going to make a couple of length cross beams. They've been clamped together, and I'm cutting some joints in them for the cross legs to slot into. You'll see as the video goes on, I'll clean all these up and then put the same ones into the feet, and then they'll lock together. So this will give you a better idea how they're going to work. So these two pieces are going to support the main post. This is a cut off section of the main post, but that gives you an idea where the post's going to go. That's going to get screwed into those, and then we're going to have a couple of feet crossing over there into those joints.
Cool.
So the next thing we'll do is we'll start cutting the feet. As you can see, this is my favourite bit, tearing these bits out. Trim these off, and that's almost the bottom section done. The little trick I've learned, I always make the joints a little bit tight, and then I'll use it as a smoothing plane. I'll just gradually take a little bit off the timber until I get a nice tight fit. Works every time. That's the base. Working on the main crossbeam here, and it's the same principle. I've made the joint tight, so the through tenon on the main post is a little bit tight. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking some shavings off with the smoothing plane, so not a lot, just a couple of thou every pass, and then we'll check the fit. A little bit more. And with this process, it produces a nice snug fit and a nice clean joint. And once that's done, we have all the main components completed, and we've got something we can possibly hang a sign off.
Cool.
I whipped up a couple of angle brackets here just to screw into the main frame, just to give it a bit more support and add to the look of the sign as well. I then ran a big chamfer down the side of the main post and chamfered most of the other edges as well, using the router as well as the chisel. You can see on the bottom of the base here I put a bit of a recess in it as well, so that we've only got 4 points of contact. But that's the base completed. Cut a couple of bevels on the feet. Now we're going to fix the main post. I made a bracket so that I can actually assemble this post into two components. You can see the main bracket's been screwed to the base, and then the main post is going to be screwed or bolted to that bracket. And I'm currently drilling the holes for those bolts. see the 200mm lag screws that I put into the side of the base there, screwing the main support on, and there's another 2 of those on the other side, so it should be well and truly strong enough to hold the post and the sign. Cool. And on to final assembly. I got a black chain which I then bent open to hook over the eyelets, and then just bent these back, and that was the main support for the sign. Chains are on. I'd applied 4 coats of matte lacquer out of a rattle can over the sign to help protect it. But that's it, she's all done. She's all assembled. Here we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. Prancing Pony. How about that, eh? So that's the completed sign. Really happy how it came out. It was a very complicated process to get it to this stage, but it's come up really, really good. Very happy with the result. And as I stated, I think this is the best replica Prancing Pony sign, pub sign, from Lord of the Rings that's on YouTube. That hasn't been made by a CNC, it's all been made by hand. So if you're going to dispute me on that, let me know in the comments. But sure enough, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for making it this far with me. If you haven't seen part 1, please have a look at that. In the original part, I do all the carving on the main pony and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of work that went into that as well. So please have a look at that as well. I hope you enjoy the content, and if you do and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up if you like the content. I always appreciate it, and by all means let me know in the comments what you think. The wedding went really great. My daughter Emma and Taylor are now happily married. So yeah, it was a great day had by everyone, and they very much appreciated their Prancing Pony sign. So yeah, thanks for your support everyone. On to the next project.